Oh my god, they've done it. WoW Classic is finally here. Are we getting a new Splinter Cell? And Last of Us 2 is almost done. My name is Force. Welcome back to the Force feed. My life is going to be over because yes, WoW Classic has arrived. Let me clarify though, it's not fully here. I got the information yesterday that the full launch of Classic WoW will be happening on August 27th. However, starting this week, closed beta testing begins and a select lucky few people are gonna have access. I'm hoping to be one of them, but I don't have it yet. We'll keep my fingers crossed. If you don't happen to get into the closed beta testing that starts this week, they are going to be doing stress testing through the months of May, June, and July leading up to that August 27th launch. You might be asking yourself, who cares, Force? This game is 15 years old at this point. Why are people so excited for the launch of Classic WoW? I think there's a lot of reasons. There's a lot of things that go into it. A big chunk of it is fueled by nostalgia, but I think there's a bunch of legitimate reasons as to why people are looking forward to this, and I kind of want to touch on them a little bit. So I'd say there's two major things. One was the difficulty of Classic WoW. Feeding right into that was the social aspect of Classic WoW. So much of the original game was just challenging. Enemies took longer to kill, they hit harder. Leveling was an incredible grind. The gearing process was intense, attuning for things, the crafting system, leveling up weapon skills. So much was so much more difficult. You know, when I think about like the past few expansions of WoW, while I'm leveling up a character, I'm pulling like 4 to 8 enemies at once and AoEing them down. Back in Classic, you gotta be kidding me. Leveling up a warrior, if you pulled more than 2 enemies, you were probably dead unless you blew like a 30-minute cooldown. It was just that much more difficult. And all of that difficulty fed right into the second major thing that I think people miss from Classic WoW, and that's just the social aspect. I think so much about what made that experience great was the fact that you were, through the game's difficulty and tedium, you were forced to work with other people. In modern WoW, you can level all the way to max level and do dungeons and raids and PvP without ever typing to a single person or talking to anybody. Thanks to the group finders, LFR, the PvP queue system, you could do everything without ever speaking to anyone. Classic WoW forced that social interaction. You combine that with the lock servers and the fact that people had identities on their servers because you weren't phasing between realms all the time and constantly seeing people come into and out of existence and never seeing the same person twice. When you had those lock servers, there was reputation. The enemy faction, the best PvPers who are always harassing you in your guild or going out in the open world, the top rating guilds on your server who are all decked out in the best gear available. All of that stuff, the challenge, the forced social interaction, the lock servers, really made a special experience that just modern WoW doesn't have. You know, there's a lot of great conveniences that modern WoW brought to the game, and especially for people with limited time, it's amazing. The fact that you can jump in, hit a button in a couple minutes, get in a dungeon, clear that dungeon in 20 minutes, get some gear, and then go do something else. That was awesome. But again, removing those barriers and that difficulty stripped away the entire social aspect of the game. There's a couple other things you could bring up as well. The fact that there was no flying, I think, really added to the scale and kind of the adventure of exploring the world. Obviously, crafting was important while leveling. Nowadays, you basically wait till max level to start crafting. Epic gear was actually epic. Like, getting a piece of purple gear was a significant accomplishment, but nowadays they're handed out like candy. I love that there was no transmog, so that when you saw someone in gear, you knew exactly what they had accomplished and exactly what they were capable of. You will see a warrior walking around with that Ashkandi, you know you should probably stay away. And even just traveling, getting places when it was an adventure. I've got so many memories, you know, spending 30 minutes to an hour forming a group for Dire Maul, and then actually trying to get there and deal with the enemy faction and try to get around all those fucking camps of gnolls. Like, because of how challenging everything was, it was more of an adventure. It required you to work with other people. It was such a great experience. Now, lots of stuff also really sucked. Sitting in cities for an hour to try to form a group was a pain in the ass. Travel time was extensive. Having to constantly rest between pulls. All of the downtime that the game had. Dealing with the respecking, because there wasn't dual spec back in the day. I realized that a lot of the excitement behind Classic WoW is like entirely nostalgia fueled, but I don't think that's a bad thing. A lot of people say that as like a negative. They say, oh, it's just nostalgia that you're excited. Well, yeah, no shit, but I don't think it's any different than the idea of like going to this playground that you used to visit as a kid, or opening up that old pack of magic cards that you first built decks with your friends when you were 10 years old. And I think there is a lot of value in revisiting these great things from when you were younger, and that's exactly what I'm looking to get out of Classic WoW. I'm so excited at this idea to revisit this game that was a huge part of my life for such a long time, and do it not only with the old friends that I used to play with, but with some of new friends that I've made over the years as well. And I think that's probably the biggest thing that I'll wrap up with here on the WoW topic. For me, WoW transcends all other video game experiences because it was more than just a game. I've played a lot of great video games, but WoW took up 5 or 6 years of my life, and it was more than just a game because of that social element that it brought that modern WoW doesn't seem to have, or at least you need to try a lot harder nowadays and really have to go out and find that social element, whereas Classic WoW forced it upon you because of how difficult things were and the constraints that the game had. And I'm excited for that. For however long it lasts, couple weeks, couple months, I'll be happy. Like, I'm excited for that idea. But anyways, let's stop talking about this and go on to the next topic. Splinter Cell, is there a new one getting made? Unfortunately, probably not. So basically, here's what happened. Ubisoft's creative director, Julian Girardi, posted a tweet saying, working on the next Splinter Cell with Dan Haynow and Rom Cammore in Lion. Can't wait for E3. So people got really excited. There's a lot of people who've wanted a new Splinter Cell for a long time. I would be pretty interested in a new Splinter Cell, but if you couldn't just tell directly from the tweet itself, people who know his personality almost immediately came out and say, this dude is screwing around. It was a joke. Him putting a tweet saying that he was working on the new Splinter Cell was entirely a joke. Just to clear things up, Ubisoft actually came out and made a statement that said Julian was obviously joking, as Julian likes to do. It looks like our creative directors are having fun right now. We do not have any announcements to make at this time. And then everyone was pissed off because, like, what? I mean, I get, you know what? I don't want to ever be in this position where I'm going to say, no joking, stop having fun. But holy crap, it's just the sheer fact that it's been so long since there's been a new Splinter Cell game and people are just chomping at the bit for one. That's like that's a tough thing to joke about. If you were going to joke about, like, hey guys, we're making a new Assassin's Creed, I don't think people would care as much. I can understand why there are some people kind of genuinely upset because we'd love a new Splinter Cell. So people just fucking around about a new Splinter Cell when it's not actually happening. A tad bit annoying. Now, there's still the possibility that this is like maybe gauging interest in the new Splinter Cell, or even though he is joking about it, maybe there's still the possibility that they are working on a new Splinter Cell. It's a funny situation. Again, I don't want to say no joking, but I could see why people are pissed off about this. And last up today, we're going to talk about The Last of Us 2. It looks like they're getting closer to finishing the game. So not too long ago, there was a retailer leak that was pegging the launch of Last of Us 2 for October 2019. Now, as of now, it's still undetermined. There is no official launch date, but people took this retailer leak as gospel for some reason. I know a lot of times these things are just wild guesses, basically, to get people to pre-order from specific sites. But anyways, on top of that, Naughty Dog had finished filming just last month for the game. So they finished the filming process. There's clearly a lot more that goes into it. Well, just recently, we got the co-game director, Anthony Newman, saying that they are hiring to close out work on the game. There's a bunch more positions that they're going to be filling to kind of wrap the whole thing up. And hearing that right now probably tells us that we might not be hitting that 2019 window. If they're still hiring people to work on some of the animations and wrap up some of the production of the game, and it is what month? May? It is May right now. We're halfway through May. I don't know what month it is. We're halfway through May in 2019, and if they're just hiring more people now, I think it's gonna be tough. Even if they go like some crazy crunch period, which don't do it, it's not good. I think it's gonna be tough for us to actually think we're gonna get that full release in 2019. Now, I'm still hopeful. I mean, it's on my list of my most anticipated games for the year. Check out that video, by the way, if you haven't already. Like, I am hopeful that this game does actually come out this year, but I'm gonna say it's dubious at best at this point. You know, there's a lot of expectation that the next generation consoles will be coming out next year in 2020. So I guess I wouldn't be too surprised surprising if we saw The Last of Us line up with the launch of the PS5, you know? I don't think that's too crazy of an idea, and it's probably gonna be like backwards compatible. It'll be playable on the PS4 as well, but as much as I'd love The Last of Us in 2019, again, the fact that they're hiring still for the position this late makes me think that it might get pushed back into 2020, but who knows? We'll see. I'll cross my fingers, remain hopeful. Maybe we'll get The Last of Us 2 this year. Regardless though, we got WoW Classic. I'm keeping my fingers crossed, knocking on wood, and hoping that I get into the Classic beta, which it like starts today actually. Blizzard, if you want to hook me up with something, I've covered a lot of your games over the years. I mean, look, if I can't sell out to Blizzard, who am I gonna sell out to? They're literally responsible for my entire YouTube channel, basically. All right, well, that's it for today's feed. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoy the video. We'll be back with some more gaming news probably next week, another episode. And this Friday, I can't make any promises. I have no clue. It might be happening at some point though, the return of a game on Fridays, and we'll see. Thanks for watching. See you later.